Hi, I'm Dave Epstein. Welcome to this edition of Growing Wisdom, and today we're talking about how to water successfully during a drought. One thing that happens with soil that's really dry like this, it becomes what's called hydrophobic. So it basically repels water. So if you try to water it, you can see what happens here. The soil actually starts floating. And so you don't want to, this is why you can get flooding after a drought, because the water's not being absorbed into the ground. It's just sort of dusty and it mixes and, it doesn't go in. So you really want to water slowly with almost drip irrigation. That works better, or just a trickle from a hose. With this particular Pieris plant, I'm noticing the leaves just losing moisture. Same thing's happening with this bamboo next to it. And so rather than, overhead water, what I do is I take this little sprinkler here and just kind of trickle it on. Look how low it is. You can see here that it's really down at the root zone. And we'll just let that go, maybe an hour, and the water will slowly trickle in. At first it's going to bead up a little bit, but eventually it's going to water this area. So it's slow, not overhead. I'm not wasting water. It's not going to evaporate from hitting the leaves up there. It's going to stay where the roots are, which is what the plant needs. All right, I've been doing a little weeding, trying to get the weeds out, because when you're in a drought, you don't want the weeds to be absorbing water. And you can see here, the soil's pretty dry. We've had a little bit of rain last night, so actually it's not as bad as it's been. Key here is to check your soil, see how dry it is, and when you're watering, something like this boxwood, you need to trickle things on, do it slowly, and that way you're not wasting water. One of the worst things you can do is sort of water overhead, because by the time it gets through this little, even this little canopy down to the ground, you've evaporated a lot of water. Also, timing on watering, we've lost some stuff here. Here you go. This is all drought. Some of it's drought related. When you water, you don't want to be watering in the middle of the day, and certainly in a windy, dry afternoon. That's the worst time to water. Things look okay here because I've been taking care of it, but if you water during the middle of the day, a lot of the water is going to evaporate, and as I've shown you, you really want to water low to the ground. I also have a nice bit of mulch here, right? So the mulch kind of protects what watering we are doing and doesn't let the moisture get out of the ground quite as quickly. All right, so there you have it. When you're watering during a drought, it's important to water slowly, let the water trickle. Not a lot of water all at once, because that soil can actually repel the water, as we've seen. And remember, newly planted things, the roots are not out very far. Existing plants, you may want to water for a long period of time. In some cases, I've watered for hours just on a very slow drip in order to get the water down into the root zone and into the soil. For Growing Wisdom, I'm Dave Epstein.